It all started with a growl. In the middle of a busy airport terminal seasoned K9, Max suddenly froze, then lunged toward an unclaimed navy blue suitcase, barking with an intensity that silenced the crowd. Passengers stopped mid-step, unsure whether to panic or watch in confusion. Officer Jaime Max's handler for nearly a decade had never seen him react like this before. Trained to detect explosives and narcotics, Max now seemed desperate, almost emotional. This wasn't just a signal, it was a cry. Whatever was inside that suitcase wasn't a threat. It was something more heartbreaking. And Max wasn't going to walk away. When the officers slowly unzipped the suitcase, the entire terminal seemed to hold its breath. Inside, curled up in a corner, was a tiny, trembling puppy, barely alive. Its fur was soaked, its ribs painfully visible, and its eyes full of silent suffering. Gasps rippled through the crowd as one officer gently lifted the frail creature out. Even seasoned professionals felt their throats tighten. Max, who had been barking moments before, now sat quietly beside the scene, his gaze locked on the puppy with a soft, knowing whimper. He hadn't just detected life, he had sensed pain, and he had answered its call. As the crowd looked on in stunned silence, Jaime clutched Max's leash with pride and disbelief. Max hadn't been trained to detect cruelty or neglect, yet somehow he knew. His instincts had gone beyond protocol. They had touched something deeper. The suitcase bore no tags, no claim ticket, and no clues. But that didn't stop the officers. Security footage was pulled immediately. Hours of recordings were scoured until they found him, a tall man, mid-40s, dragging the suitcase with odd care. He never spoke a word, never made eye contact. He had a criminal record, including past charges of animal abuse and trafficking. This wasn't his first time, but thanks to Max, it might be his last. With his name and address identified, Jaime turned to Max and whispered, "Let's bring him in." Max gave a single wag of his tail. The chase for justice had just begun, and it was led by a dog who felt what no machine ever could. The apartment complex sat on the outskirts of town, its silence almost too perfect. Jaime and the officers approached with caution, Max leading the way, his nose to the ground, body tense. When they knocked, there was no response, but Max began to growl, low and steady. That was all the confirmation they needed. With a swift kick, the door gave way and the team rushed in. The smell was overwhelming, rot urine, and something worse. The suspect tried to flee out the back window, but officers tackled him before he made it far. Inside, the scene was heartbreaking. Cages were stacked floor to ceiling, filled with trembling puppies, sick kittens, and exotic birds barely clinging to life. Some animals didn't move at all. Jaime's heart broke as she moved from cage to cage. Max gently sniffed each one, stopping the longest at the weakest, as if offering comfort. This wasn't just a case anymore, it was a rescue mission. As the news broke, the world reacted swiftly. Within hours, social media lit up with outrage and praise. Headlines dominated every major outlet. K9 Hero uncovers hidden animal cruelty operation. Images of Max tail wagging beside the rescued puppy flooded timelines across the country. People called it a miracle, a moment where instinct met justice. Local shelters received an influx of donations, offers to adopt, and messages of support. Children sent hand-drawn pictures of Max with capes and medals. The mayor issued a public statement calling Max a guardian of the voiceless. But for Jaime, it wasn't about fame. It was about the lives saved and the lives that could have been lost. Max's alert had stopped something far more sinister than anyone imagined. And in that moment, the dog trained to detect threats had become a symbol of compassion, reminding everyone that even in the darkest corners, hope can still bark loud enough to be heard. With the spotlight now on the case, investigators dug deeper into the suspect's past, and what they uncovered was chilling. Records showed years of overlooked reports, neighbors complaining about strange odors, constant barking, and animals disappearing from local shelters. But without solid proof, nothing had ever been done until Max stepped in. His actions not only saved a puppy in an airport terminal, but cracked open a case that had remained hidden in plain sight. Animal rights organizations rallied together, pushing for stricter regulations on transport and inspection of pets. Jaime testified before City Council, sharing Max's story and urging change. Meanwhile, Max continued his work quietly, never asking for recognition, just a wag of the tail and a gentle pat. For those who followed the case, it became a reminder that sometimes it's not a badge or a uniform that brings justice, but the instincts of a four-legged hero who refuses to look away. As news of Max's heroic discovery spread, people across the country reacted with outrage and admiration. Animal lovers flooded social media with support, praising Max as a true guardian angel. Donations poured into local rescue organizations, and adoption inquiries surged. One photo, capturing Max sitting quietly beside the rescued puppy, became a symbol of hope, a reminder that compassion still exists, even in the darkest corners. Elderly viewers, especially those who'd known the pain of loss or loneliness, saw in Max not just a dog, but a protector, a silent witness who reminded the world that every life matters, even the smallest one. This story reminds us that compassion has no language, and true loyalty knows no species. In a world where cruelty often hides in silence, it was a dog's instinct and love for life that uncovered what others ignored. For older adults who've seen the best and worst of humanity, this tale is a gentle but powerful reminder: never underestimate the quiet protectors in our lives, be they people or pets. Sometimes it takes a four-legged friend to show us that justice, kindness, and courage can still make a difference, no matter how broken the world seems.